Ever found yourself wondering how to become so irresistibly magnetic that the person who never saw your worth suddenly can't get you out of their mind? Whether it's someone you've already connected with but who's now distant, or someone you're trying to pull into your orbit for the first time, the key to drawing them back isn't what you think. Forget chasing them, proving your value, or begging for their attention. That approach is a surefire way to lose your power and make them value you less, not more. Today, we're flipping the script. I'm going to show you how to stop chasing and start attracting, using a method that will have them crawling back to you. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate anyone. It's about something far more powerful, mastering yourself, your energy, and your mindset, so that the person who walked away begins to feel your absence in a way they never expected. They'll regret slipping away in the first place. Trust me on that. Here's the hard truth. Attraction is never about what you do for someone. It's about what you do for yourself when they're not around. Stop reacting to their distance with desperation. Don't text more, don't show up more, and definitely don't make yourself overly available. Every time you do, you're telling them you need them to complete you. And let me tell you, that's the quickest way to make someone lose interest. But what if, instead of chasing them, you took control? What if you stopped filling the space with messages and attention, and instead let your silence, your confidence, and your self-mastery speak volumes? This is where Stoicism comes in. True power, according to Stoic principles, comes from within, not from chasing others. It's about mastering your own emotions, your thoughts, and your actions. When you stop desperately trying to win someone back and focus instead on becoming the kind of person they regret losing, the dynamic shifts completely. Imagine this. Instead of bombarding them with calls or showing up everywhere to prove your worth, you pull back, not out of anger, but out of pure confidence. You've mastered your own energy, and you no longer feel the need to chase after someone who isn't meeting you halfway. And that's when things start to change. They begin to feel it, the sudden absence of your presence, the void where you once were. It starts to eat at them. They begin to wonder, why aren't they reaching out? Did I make a mistake? That doubt begins to grow, and now it's them who's unsure. You've stopped feeding their ego, and now they have to reckon with their own feelings. This isn't about revenge or payback. It's about reclaiming your power and owning your life. When you stop reacting and start mastering yourself, you become a force they can't control. And the person who once overlooked you, they'll see you in a whole new light, because now you're someone they can't predict, someone they can't manipulate. And that's exactly when they'll come crawling back. Stick with me, because in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to apply these timeless Stoic principles to reclaim your power and start attracting the right kind of attention. If you're ready to stop chasing and start making them regret walking away, hit that like button and let's dive in. The first step is accept the challenge. It's time to stop chasing. No more bending over backward, no more trying to prove your worth to someone who isn't fully seeing it. The shift begins with you. You're not going to wait for validation from anyone, and you're definitely not going to beg for attention. Instead, you're going to turn that focus inward, mastering your own energy and letting your absence speak louder than any word ever could. Silence, self-mastery, and a confidence that doesn't need to be earned. That's who you're becoming. Drop a comment below with, "I'm ready for this challenge," if you're done chasing and ready to reclaim your power. This is where the transformation starts. Stop pursuing and start attracting. Why they lose interest. Have you ever wondered why someone loses interest in the first place? It's often because the excitement fades. One of the main reasons is predictability. When you're always there, always available, and always trying to please, you become too easy to have. And the truth is, the more accessible something is, the less we value it. Studies in psychology back this up. The scarcity principle shows that we're more attracted to things that are unpredictable, hard to get, or simply less available. So when you're constantly at someone's beck and call, the mystery and allure you once had begins to vanish. Then there's emotional overdependence. When you're constantly seeking someone's approval, it creates an invisible pressure. That neediness signals insecurity, and no one is attracted to that. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "He who is not disturbed by the loss of externals has found serenity." When you're too focused on getting validation from someone else, you lose the serenity that comes from knowing your own worth. And that's a major turn-off. And let's not forget routine. The same boring conversations, the same predictable interactions. It all makes the relationship feel stale. Dr. Helen Fisher, a leading relationship psychologist, points out that novelty is a key ingredient in attraction. Dopamine, the chemical responsible for excitement, thrives on newness. Without the spark of novelty, the relationship starts to feel like a boring loop, and feelings of attraction begin to fade. Finally, people lose interest when you stop growing. If you're not evolving emotionally, intellectually, or even physically, the relationship becomes stagnant. The attraction is always stronger when both people are constantly striving to improve and challenge themselves. A person who is always growing, always bettering themselves, naturally draws others in. In short, people lose interest because of predictability, emotional neediness, lack of excitement, and stagnation. But here's the secret. The antidote to all of this is simple. You need to become unpredictable, self-sufficient, and in a constant state of growth. When you shift your energy in these ways, attraction naturally follows. 8 steps to turn the tide and make them come back. Now that you understand why they might have lost interest, let's dive into the 8 key steps you can take to completely flip the script. These steps are rooted in Stoic wisdom, backed by psychology, and designed to make them see you in a completely new light. Each step will help you regain control, refocus on your own growth, and ultimately make them realize what they've been missing out on. Ready to turn things around? Let's get started. Step 1. Emotional detachment. Emotional detachment is an absolute game changer when it comes to regaining control in any relationship. But let me be clear, this isn't about becoming cold or shutting off your feelings. It's about mastering your emotional responses so you're never at the mercy of someone else's actions. You control your emotions, not them. So why is emotional detachment so powerful? Think about it. When someone starts pulling away or becoming distant and you're emotionally attached to their behavior, you're handing them the keys to your emotional world. Every word they say, every message they send or don't send becomes a trigger for anxiety. You overthink, you overreact, and you end up chasing their approval, lowering your value in the process. You give them all the power. But what if you could flip the script? What if you could stand tall, unfazed, no matter how distant or uninterested they seem? That's where emotional detachment comes in. How emotional detachment works. When they start pulling away instead of spiraling into panic or desperation, you pause. You don't text them more. You don't start pleading, "What's wrong?" You don't beg for answers. Instead, you take a step back and regain control of your own emotional state. You remind yourself that their actions do not dictate how you feel. This pause, this space you create, keeps you from falling into insecurity or neediness, allowing you to stay composed, calm, and collected, even in uncertainty. This concept is rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Epictetus, a legendary Stoic philosopher, put it perfectly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Emotional detachment is about choosing your response, even when things feel out of control. You can't control their actions, but you can control your reaction. And when you refuse to react with desperation, that's when you regain your power. Emotional detachment, the key to maintaining your power. Let me give you a real-life example. Let's say you've been seeing someone and everything was going well at first, but then suddenly they start texting less, becoming distant, and you feel that connection slipping. Your natural instinct might be to flood their inbox, asking if everything's okay, or trying to rekindle their interest. But guess what? That only sends the message that you're desperate and emotionally dependent on them. Instead, when you practice emotional detachment, you do the exact opposite. You recognize the situation, but you don't let it affect your mood or your sense of self-worth. You let them pull away without reacting. You keep living your life as if nothing has changed. That's the power of silence. That's the power of not chasing. You're telling them, I'm not waiting around for you to validate my worth. Not only does emotional detachment help you maintain your power, it also helps you keep perspective. When you're too attached to someone's behavior, it's easy to start overanalyzing and misinterpreting everything they do. But by stepping back and detaching emotionally, you create space to see things more clearly. Maybe they're just going through a rough patch, or maybe they're testing the waters. Either way, emotional detachment keeps you from making knee-jerk decisions that could push them further away. Emotional detachment doesn't mean indifference. It's important to understand that emotional detachment doesn't mean indifference. You still care, but you've learned to detach from their behavior without losing your sense of self. It's about balance, caring, but not caring too much. When you master emotional detachment, you remain confident, even when the other person's actions might make you question things. In conclusion, the power of emotional detachment. Emotional detachment is your ticket to reclaiming control over your emotional state and your relationships. It's about showing the world, especially the person who's pulling away, that you're not easily rattled. You've stopped chasing, you've stopped seeking validation, and that's what makes you incredibly attractive. The moment you stop emotionally reacting, they'll begin to feel the shift. They'll wonder why you're no longer chasing them, why you're no longer emotionally invested in their every move. And that's when the power dynamic begins to change. Instead of you running after them, they'll start feeling the void of your absence. And that's when they'll come crawling back, realizing what they've lost. Stay with me, because we're just getting started. Next, we're going to talk about the common mistakes people make when someone starts pulling away, and why these mistakes keep them stuck in the cycle of frustration and desperation. Trust me, by avoiding these pitfalls, you'll regain your power and create an attraction that draws them back to you. Let's dive in. Mistake number 1, chasing them relentlessly. One of the biggest mistakes you can make when someone pulls away is to chase them even harder. You start texting more, calling more, or showing up uninvited, thinking that more effort will reignite their interest. But here's the catch. This behavior screams desperation, and nothing is less attractive than neediness. The more you chase, the more you signal that you need their validation to feel good about yourself. Instead, shift your focus, stop chasing, and start detaching from the outcome. When you stop trying to force their attention, the dynamic shifts. You become more mysterious, more unpredictable, and ironically more intriguing. People are drawn to what's scarce and hard to get. So, stop chasing and start making them chase you. Mistake number 2, over-communicating and over-explaining. Another major mistake people make when they feel someone slipping away is bombarding them with endless messages, explanations, and emotional pleas. You think that if you just express how much you care or clarify your intentions, they'll come running back. But here's the hard truth. Over-communicating only weakens your position. The more you explain yourself, the more you risk appearing insecure and desperate. You're basically pleading for their attention, and that's a major turn-off. Instead, embrace the power of silence. Pull back and let them wonder what's going on in your mind. Allow them to feel the weight of your absence, rather than overwhelming them with your attempts to fix the situation. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in emotional restraint. Sometimes saying less and giving space creates a far more magnetic presence than a flood of words ever could. When you stop over-explaining, you give them room to miss you, and that's when the real attraction begins. Mistake number 3. Sacrificing your own life and interests. It's all too easy to lose yourself when you're desperately trying to win someone's attention. You start rearranging your schedule to fit theirs, cancel plans with friends, or even put your hobbies and passions on the back burner just to accommodate them. The problem? You become too available. You start to revolve your entire life around them, and when that happens, you lose the mystery and intrigue that made you interesting in the first place. You've essentially made yourself too easy to access, and that's never a good look. The key to reversing this: focus on your own growth. Keep investing in your passions, your career, your friendships, anything that makes you happy and fulfilled outside of the relationship. When you're thriving on your own, you naturally become more attractive. People are drawn to those who have their own lives, their own dreams, and their own sense of purpose. When you maintain your independence and continue to grow, you're not just someone they want to be with. You become someone they fear losing, and that's when the attraction really kicks into high gear. Mistake number 4. Seeking constant reassurance. When someone starts pulling away, it's natural to feel unsettled, but the worst thing you can do in that moment is to start seeking constant reassurance. You ask them over and over if they still care, why they're being distant, or if everything is okay. While it might feel like a way to ease your anxiety, all it does is send a clear message: you're insecure. And here's the reality: insecurity is a huge turn-off. People are naturally drawn to those who exude confidence, not to someone who constantly needs external validation to feel secure in the relationship. So, instead of fishing for reassurance, focus on building your own self-assurance. Trust that if this person is truly meant to be in your life, they will make the effort to be there. Don't rely on their words to make you feel good about yourself. Your confidence should come from within, not from the validation of others. When you stop seeking their approval, you start to radiate the kind of self-assured energy that makes you irresistible. And that shift? That's when they start to feel your absence and start questioning everything. Mistake number 5. Becoming emotionally reactive. When someone's behavior starts to throw you off, maybe they stop texting, cancel plans last minute, or seem distant, it's easy to get emotionally triggered. You feel that rush of frustration or confusion, and before you know it, you're sending a frustrated text or shutting down entirely. It's a natural reaction, but it's also one that can backfire. These emotional outbursts only create tension, drama, and unnecessary conflict, which ultimately drives the other person further away. The solution? Emotional control. Instead of reacting on impulse, take a step back. Breathe. Give yourself space to process your feelings before you respond. This gives you the power to respond thoughtfully, not emotionally. When you show that you're not easily rattled, you signal emotional maturity, an incredibly attractive quality. As the Stoics believed, mastering your emotions is the ultimate form of strength. When you stay calm and composed, no matter what's happening around you, you become someone who commands respect. And that's the kind of person who draws others in, rather than pushing them away. Mistake number 6. Trying to convince them of your worth. One of the biggest traps you can fall into is feeling like you need to convince someone of your value. You start listing all the reasons why they should stay, trying to prove that you're the perfect match, or even going out of your way to show them everything they're missing. But here's the hard truth. No one can be convinced to see your worth. Your value isn't something that can be argued or explained. It's something that's demonstrated through your actions, your confidence, and how you carry yourself. When you chase after validation, you cheapen your own value. Stop trying to convince someone who doesn't already see your worth. Instead, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Work on your growth, your passions, and your life outside of them. As you become the most confident, independent, and fulfilled version of you, they'll naturally begin to realize what they've been missing. And by then, they'll be the ones wondering if they've let something incredible slip through their fingers. Mistake number 7. Letting their behavior dictate your happiness. When someone starts pulling away, it's easy to fall into the trap of letting their behavior control your emotions. You find yourself checking your phone obsessively, feeling anxious when they don't respond, or elated when they finally do. Suddenly, your entire mood hinges on how they treat you, and that's a dangerous game. You're handing over the reins of your happiness to someone else, and that's a position of weakness. The key to breaking free? Reclaim your emotional independence. Your happiness should never be dependent on someone else's attention or affection. Instead, focus on creating a life that excites you, one that's fulfilling, rich with your own passions and purpose. When you nurture your own happiness from within, you no longer rely on anyone else's approval or actions to feel good about yourself. When you're content and confident on your own, you become magnetic, because true happiness is irresistibly attractive. Mistake number 8. Fearing the loss. The fear of losing someone can be paralyzing, and ironically, it often drives the very behaviors that make the loss inevitable. When you're constantly worried about them slipping away, you start to cling, chase, and overcompensate. You try to hold on tighter, not realizing that the more you fear losing them, the more you push them further out of reach. That fear of loss. It often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what's the solution? Let go of the fear. Realize that if someone chooses to walk away, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their choice. When you stop fearing the loss of someone, you free yourself from the anxiety of trying to control outcomes that are out of your hands. Letting go is not about giving up. It's about reclaiming your power and your peace of mind. When you stop fearing what might slip away, you give yourself the space to step into your full potential, and that's when things start shifting in your favor. By freeing yourself from the fear of loss, you begin to approach the relationship from a place of emotional strength and security rather than desperation. And that's when they'll start to feel the shift and feel you pulling away in the most magnetic way possible. What is the no-contact rule? The no-contact rule is a game-changing strategy that works like a reset button for your emotional well-being. After a breakup, or when someone begins pulling away, you completely cut off all communication with them. This means no texting, no calling, no social media creeping, and no accidental run-ins. You give yourself, and them, the space to breathe, usually for 30 days, though the exact time can vary depending on the situation. Why is it so effective? Simple. It serves two powerful purposes. You focus on your own growth. They get a chance to feel the weight of your absence. Why does no contact work so well? Let's break this down with a little human psychology. When you're constantly available, reaching out, or lingering in their space, the other person never gets a chance to truly miss you. You become background noise in their life. But by pulling back and going silent, you create a void. That void sparks curiosity. Why haven't you reached out? Where did you go? As they begin to wonder, they start reflecting on what they had with you, and more importantly, what they've lost. At first, they might feel a sense of freedom, thinking they've moved on or don't need you anymore. But as the days go by, that silence becomes deafening. They start to miss your presence, your attention, and the emotional connection you shared. The longer you stay silent, the louder your absence becomes, and that's when they begin to realize you're the one they've been missing. No contact is for you too. Here's the secret. No contact isn't just about making them miss you, it's about using the time to focus entirely on you. It's your chance to reconnect with yourself, rediscover your passions, and build a life that doesn't depend on their validation. In those 30, or however many days, you're not just waiting for them to come back. You're healing, growing, and becoming the best version of yourself. When you emerge from no contact, you'll not only be stronger and more confident, you'll be a person who radiates a magnetic energy that they can't help but be drawn to. And, as a bonus, you'll have reclaimed your independence and self-worth, regardless of what happens with them. Emotional control and strength. During this time, one of the hardest things will be resisting the urge to check up on them, send that "I miss you" message, or respond to any late-night texts they might send. But here's the beauty of it. No contact is a test of your emotional strength. It's your chance to practice Stoicism, to control your reactions, to remain calm and composed, even when everything inside you wants to reach out. By staying silent, you're showing the ultimate form of self-control. You don't need their validation to feel secure. You've taken back control of your emotional state, and that, my friend, is incredibly attractive. You're no longer the one waiting for their response. You've flipped the script, and now they're the ones left wondering what happened to you. That shift is exactly what makes them start missing you. It makes them question their decision, and often it makes them come back, more interested than before. No contact is a strategic move. Make no mistake, no contact isn't a passive move. It's a powerful, deliberate strategy that gives you the upper hand. By creating that space, you're not just waiting around for them to come back. You're giving them the opportunity to experience the impact of your absence, all while you focus on becoming an even better, stronger version of yourself. When they come back, and they often do, they'll see you in a whole new light. Someone who is emotionally independent, strong, and fully capable of moving forward with or without them. That's when you truly hold all the power. Staying focused. During no contact, of course, staying focused during no contact can be challenging. The urge to reach out, to check in, or to give them one last shot at a conversation can feel overwhelming. But remember, this period is about you, not them. To stay focused, channel your energy into something productive. Whether it's hitting the gym, learning a new skill, working on your career, or diving into a personal project, invest in activities that fuel your growth. The more you focus on building yourself, the less tempted you'll be to reach out. Plus, all that growth will make you more confident and magnetic, not just to them, but to anyone who crosses your path. By the time the no-contact period ends, you'll feel stronger, more balanced, and ready for whatever comes next, whether that means moving on or entering a healthier, more grounded relationship with them. Either way, you'll be in a far better place, and they'll be the one left wondering how they ever let you go. Lean on your support system. Going through a period of no contact can feel like you're stuck in a solitary battle, but it doesn't have to be that way. Leaning on your friends, family, or any positive figures in your life can be a game changer. These are the people who know you, support you, and remind you of your strength when you're feeling weak. Surrounding yourself with a solid support system helps shift your focus away from the person you're distancing yourself from and brings you back to the people who value you for who you truly are. Conversations, shared laughter, and new experiences will remind you that your life is filled with so much more than just one person, and they'll also help you heal and rediscover your worth. Patience and emotional control. Now let's talk about patience and emotional control, the cornerstones of this entire process. The temptation to break no contact or check up on them can be strong, but remember, true power lies in restraint. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our reactions, and our emotions. By staying grounded and present, you not only avoid sabotaging the healing process, but you also build up your emotional resilience. This time apart is as much about reclaiming your strength as it is about giving them space. So practice patience, hold your ground, and turn this time into an opportunity to evolve. Turning heartbreak into your greatest strength. Heartbreak stings. It shakes you to your core and leaves you questioning your worth. But what if I told you that heartbreak could be the very thing that fuels your greatest transformation? The pain you're feeling right now doesn't have to break you, it can remake you. Embrace the pain. The first step to turning heartbreak into power is to stop running from the pain. It's tempting to numb the hurt with distractions, but real healing starts when you confront the emotions head-on. Feel the sadness, the anger, the frustration. Sit with it. Let yourself grieve, because only then can you release what no longer serves you. The Stoics understood this well. Emotions aren't to be avoided, but examined. They're messages from within, revealing what needs healing. And in those raw moments, you'll discover the seeds of your growth. Use the pain as fuel. Once you embrace the pain, transform it into something constructive. Heartbreak often leaves a void, but that void can be the perfect space for something incredible to grow. You. Pour that emotional energy into your passions. Focus on your career, your fitness, or a personal project that excites you. Reconnect with the things that make you whole. By channeling your pain into self-improvement, the hurt becomes a stepping stone, propelling you forward toward the best version of yourself. Heartbreak doesn't define you, it refines you. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Let your pain be the catalyst for the next chapter of your personal evolution. Reclaim your power. Ultimately, transforming heartbreak into strength is all about reclaiming your power. It's no longer about needing someone to feel validated or loved. It's about knowing that your worth is inherent. You've come to understand that your happiness doesn't depend on someone else's presence, and your journey is in your own hands. Rebuilding yourself after heartbreak is the ultimate act of self-empowerment. As the layers of pain peel away, you emerge stronger, wiser, and more confident than ever. Heartbreak may leave scars, but strength is something you can carry with you for a lifetime. How to really make them miss you. If you want to make them miss you, the first thing you need to do is stop chasing. Shift the focus from them to yourself. Stop worrying about what they think or how they're feeling. Instead, become the kind of person who's impossible to forget. This isn't about playing mind games or seeking revenge. It's about rediscovering your own worth and letting them see it from a distance. When you embrace your independence, pursue your passions, and live life on your own terms, you create an undeniable energy that makes them realize what they're missing. Creating space, the first and most crucial step. The first and most critical step in making someone miss you is creating space. When you're always available, always texting or showing up for them, they never get the opportunity to experience life without you. By pulling back, reducing communication, or even implementing a full no-contact period, You allow them to feel the void your absence creates. This isn't about punishing them. It's about creating the opportunity for them to truly miss your presence. And when they start feeling the loss, that's when the magic happens. The shift in dynamics begins, and they start to realize that losing you may be the one thing they can't afford. Create the space to let them miss you. When you step back and let silence settle between you, something powerful happens. They start wondering where you've gone, what you're up to, and why you're no longer giving them the attention they've grown accustomed to. That curiosity begins to build, and soon enough, it turns into missing you. The absence you create isn't just a void. It's a reflection of your importance, one they'll start to feel deeply. This shift in the dynamic is the first step to reawakening their emotional attachment. They'll be left with no choice but to reconsider what they've lost and realize just how much you truly brought to their life. Focus on self-improvement. While they're trying to piece together what's happening, you've got a golden opportunity to invest in yourself. People are drawn to those who are growing and evolving, and when you use this time apart to level up, whether it's through fitness, advancing your career, or deepening your emotional growth, you naturally become more magnetic. As you start building a life that's fulfilling with or without them, you radiate an energy that others can't help but gravitate toward. When they see you thriving on your own, it sparks something deep within them, a feeling of regret or longing. This is the power of emotional independence. It's not just that you're fine without them, it's that you're more than fine. You're thriving. Maintain a sense of mystery. The next step in this process is maintaining mystery. Don't give them the full picture. Keep some parts of your life to yourself, allowing them to wonder what's going on behind the scenes. The less they know, the more intrigued they'll be. Mystery creates an element of unpredictability that draws them in. They'll want to reach out, reconnect, and rediscover the connection that's been slowly slipping away. By focusing on your own growth and leaving space for them to feel your absence, you'll boost your self-worth and make them realize they miss not just you, but the energy you brought into their world. What to do when they finally reach out? When they finally reach out after that period of silence, this is your moment to shine. But the way you handle it will determine if this is a chance to reset the relationship or fall back into old patterns. The key here is to stay calm, confident, and in control. Don't rush to respond. It's tempting to jump on that message or pick up the phone the moment they reach out, but resist that impulse. Responding too quickly sends the message that you've been waiting for them, and it shifts the power dynamic back in their favor. Take your time, collect your thoughts, and respond when you're in a place of emotional control. Stay calm and controlled. When you do respond, keep your tone light, casual, and friendly. Don't dive straight into deep emotional conversations or bring up past issues right away. The goal here is to show them that you've been thriving without them and that you're not desperate for their attention. Let the conversation flow naturally, but never forget that your energy speaks louder than your words. You're showing them that you're self-sufficient, and that's incredibly attractive. Set boundaries. When they reach out, it's also the perfect time to set boundaries. If their past behavior hurt you or left you feeling undervalued, this is your chance to communicate what you need moving forward. Do this calmly, assertively, and without apology. Let them know you're open to reconnecting, but only on your terms. By setting clear, firm boundaries, you demonstrate that you're in control of your life and will not settle for anything less than respect and honesty. Stay grounded. Above all, stay grounded. Whether or not they fully re-engage, the way you handle their return is a reflection of your strength and emotional resilience. You've already shown that you can thrive without them, so now it's up to you to decide if and how you'll move forward. Stay confident in your worth, and remember, you're in control of this situation. Setting boundaries to reclaim your power. Setting boundaries is essential for maintaining control and reclaiming your power in any relationship. Without boundaries, you become vulnerable to being taken for granted, and your self-respect can easily be compromised. But when you set limits, you communicate that you respect yourself and expect the same from others. Boundaries aren't about controlling anyone. They're about protecting your own emotional well-being. For example, if someone has been unreliable in the past, set clear expectations. I need consistency and honesty to invest my time. If that's not something you can offer, I can't keep engaging. This lets them know that you won't settle for less than what you deserve. The strength to maintain boundaries. It takes emotional strength to maintain boundaries, especially when people may test or push against them. But this is where you grow. As the Stoics teach, true strength comes from mastering our reactions, and by standing firm in your boundaries, you protect your peace and show that nothing, not even their behavior, will shake you. Never apologize for having boundaries. They are a reflection of your values and self-respect. The more you enforce them, the more you attract people who value and respect you, while distancing yourself from those who don't. This process is not about controlling others. It's about reclaiming your power and standing firm in your self-worth. Mastering yourself, the key to reclaiming power. Ultimately, it's about mastering yourself, embracing emotional independence, avoiding the common mistakes, and using the no-contact rule to your advantage. When you focus on your own growth, maintain your boundaries, and embrace your own power, you'll naturally start to shift the dynamic of the relationship. You won't need to chase or convince anyone of your value. Your actions, your confidence, and your self-respect will speak for themselves. If you're ready to take control and make this shift in your life, drop a comment with the phrase, "I'm in control now," below, and let's start the journey to your transformation.